Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Dominic Demore and James Langos with me. We are back after the IH bachelor party. That one doesn't work out quite as well, but
true story.
True. And the guy who was getting married once was on the sports podcast.
Once upon a time.
Yeah, long time ago. Feels like forever now. But sorry for the delay, and we had no episode on last Friday or this Wednesday. But we're coming back strong. We're coming back hard. We're coming back hungry. Emphasis on the hard. It was a bachelor party after all. I want to thank you all for tuning in to the second best thing you will hear all week. We have a great show for you that includes the box office results for last week, no movie review because, like we said, we were busy, as well as the top film news from around the industry, along with our assorted thoughts and opinions ranging from insightful to downright obnoxious. This is the I've Had Better Movies podcast. Let's kick it off. James, what are we going to do first?
Box office?
Yeah, let's go with that. We'd have confidence. Again, box office is a little different today because we're reporting all the way from back last week, and this episode's airing on the Friday that most of the movies are premiering. So we're not talking about this weekend, we're talking about last weekend when Secret Life of Pets premiered. But as always, we are still keeping up with our competition, which is the box office battle, a competition for bragging rights between friends who want nothing more than to prove they know more than the other guy. How the game works is each week, my co-host and I will predict the top 5 films of the box office. Last week, we had the same order, so we gambled on how much Secret Life of Pets would make. And whoever gets that one right gets the point for the week, adding to a running total, which you have never seen, but we reference occasionally.
We'll get on that at some point.
Yeah, well, I mean, production value is what it is.
Yeah.
All right, James, what are the results for last week's?
The results for last week's box office are as follows. Taking the top spot in another example of animation domination, I love that, by the way, was The Secret Life of Pets, debuting with an impressive $104.3 million. The real competition this week was for the second and third spot, as Legend Tarzan surprisingly beat out Finding Dory, $21 million to $20.8 million, very close. Pixar is not too worried of being beat out by the Ape Man. However, as Finding Dory crossed the $422 million mark to be the highest grossing domestic film of the year, debuting in the fourth spot was Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates, earning a modest $16.6 million. Rounding out the top 5 was The Purge Election Year with $12.3 million.
All right, let's get it out of the way. James.
Won again.
Yeah. I mean, I can't help it. I don't know how to pick these numbers.
I'm all over the numbers.
I did good for, Batman vs. Superman, but we didn't have to bet on that one. So all the ones that we don't bet on, I suck at. Or I'm good at. And the ones that we bet on, I suck. Because I was way off. I underestimated Secret Life of Pets way too much.
I was very close.
You were very close. You went with a nice solid round 100. So you were $4.3 million off.
Yep, pretty impressive.
Yeah, that was a good pull, James.
Thank you.
Yeah, just to give you guys some background info, Secret Life of Pets, as we mentioned, 74% on Rotten Tomatoes. A little bit low for what you'd see from like one of these typical Disney. I don't think this is Disney though. I don't remember who it is. I think it's from the guys.
Universal.
Yeah, Universal animated film. Like Finding Dory, I think is still around like 94 or something like that. $75 million budget. Also, fairly low when you consider Finding Dory was like 200.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, that's the rumor is.
That is a lot of money.
Yeah. So the movie's already made its money back pretty much. I mean, it did.
Even with the marketing, it has to.
Yeah.
No way they spent.
I mean, it's still probably in the red because they spent more than that on marketing, but to cover that much in your opening week, they have to be thrilled. Tarzan dropped off 45%. I thought that was impressive.
Mm-hmm. I thought I was going to drop off a little more than that.
Yeah, because, I mean, we both saw it. We gave it a review, and both of us, we didn't hate it, but it wasn't outstanding. So that's getting a nice return. Budget's still a little questionable. It's up to 81.8 domestically, 140 worldwide on an $180 million budget.
Still not that
Yeah,
great.
It's still going to have to move some legs, but if it keeps going at this pace and does some 10 millions over the next couple of weeks, and
it'll hang around for a while.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's opened everywhere yet, but we'll see. Finding Dory, as we said, highest grossing domestic movie of the year, Let that sink in. We've had some pretty big movies come out this year, guys. Like, this means it made more money than Batman vs. Superman, whatever you may think of that film, domestically. And it's made more than Captain America Civil War. And everybody pretty much was like, yeah, that's a good movie.
How did this happen? Seriously. How did that happen?
Small children and idiots like us. You haven't seen it, though,
No.
yet? No, you're a bad uncle.
I also haven't seen Finding Nemo.
You've never... What?
No.
How have you never seen Finding Nemo?
Pretty easily.
Screw the box office results. Let's dive into this. Let's talk about your childhood issues.
No, this is going to go too far down. In a deep hole.
We'll save that for another podcast.
I've had a better psychiatrist.
Dory, 647 worldwide. So still a good number for how much is made domestically, though. I'm not saying it's low, but you would think this movie would do great internationally as well.
It should, but I don't know why it didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just because it's a sequel.
Possible. Mike and Dave, movie you and I both loved. I was a little disappointed in this one.
As was I.
Yeah, I had it making almost double that. I
Yeah.
was expecting like 33 to 36
But
range.
Then again, they aren't Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Speaking of that, did you see the numbers on that one?
Central Intelligence?
Yeah.
8 mil?
Yeah. And what, it's like 6th, 7th week at least?
4th?
Okay, whatever. Scratch everything I said. Me, right?
4th week.
Is that really all it is?
Yeah.
Wow. Still, but that movie's to what globally now?
156.
So, but that movie came in 6th place. But back to Mike and Dave. $33 million budget. It's up to 22 globally. It's going to have some decent word of mouth. And unfortunately on Rotten Tomatoes, I don't think it was doing very well. I know it was rated rotten, so that's not going to help it.
No bueno.
Yeah, so that one's going to struggle. Hopefully it'll have a bounce back week and maybe drop off like 45% if they're lucky. Yeah.
I have a terrible feeling it's going to drop hard
Probably.
because it's competing with Ghostbusters now.
Yeah, and then rounding out the top 5. This, we knew it was going to happen because these Purge movies always do. They always drop off roughly 60% in their next week, but up to $62 million globally, as we talked about last week, $10 million budget. You got to be happy with that.
Absolutely.
A couple of other news and notes. BFG, the Big Friendly Giant, big friendly fail. $51 million globally, $140 million budget. It only did 7.8 this week. It's a Spielberg film, and it's bombing.
It's because it's animated. I think people are getting a little tired of the animated stuff.
Yeah, I mean, what it's competing against, you have to...
And the competition is pretty heavy.
Yeah, and then the last one of note, Independence Day came in 8th place, 7.7. It's up to $305 million globally, so it's an okay number, but with
Not too bad.
Yeah, with its like $180 or $165 million budget.
165, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little up and down. I don't think it has the legs to get a sequel. Those are the box office results for this week. You have any final news or notes?
No. Just that I won. What are we at now?
You're one ahead.
That's right.
You tied it up last week.
That's right. Just wanted to hear you say it.
Yeah. We'll see this week. So what's your top 5 predictions for next week?
All right.
AKA today, tomorrow, and the next day.
That could be a movie title.
It could be.
Like the day after tomorrow. At number 1, I'm going to go with Secret Life of Pets, because if it drops 50%, that's still $50 million, and I don't think anything else is going to beat that. Number 2, Ghostbusters. As horribly as it did on YouTube, I think it's going to have a chance. I think people are still going to want to see it because they adored the first one. At 3, I've got Legend of Tarzan, which it could go either way, 3 and 4, with Finding Dory. That's kind of I'm only basing this off of theater count. Legend of Tarzan increased 30 theaters this week, and Finding Dory dropped off 430. So, and then at number 5,
Breaking down the math on that one, James.
Yeah, I didn't even see this theater count thing on Box Office Mojo. It's pretty handy. And then at number 5, I've got Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates, which I'm hoping they stick around.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is nothing else is debuting against it that could really knock it out of the top 5, short of The Purge having a decent
That's the only thing I'm worried about.
I mean, they dropped off 60% in their first week. I doubt we're going to see like a 30% drop off this week.
Yeah.
I have a similar list to you. and it is different than the one I gave you in our pre-production meeting.
What?
Yes.
Switching shit up.
Imagine that. Something on the fly
Indecisive.
here at IHB. Initially, I had Ghostbusters coming in at number 1. And I'm going to kick myself if I get this one right, if that turns out to be right, because I didn't stick with my conviction. But part of me just says, like, because like I don't want to see this movie, I'm going to see it. And even despite the fact that I run a movies podcast with my friend here, if I wasn't doing that, I still probably would go see this movie.
Yep.
Just because it's Ghostbusters. Even if it's going to be a train wreck, I want to kind of see that train wreck, not out of an enjoyment thing, just so I can be like, oh, God, it was a train wreck.
Yeah. No one wants to see a movie be terrible.
Yeah, no.
I don't think that's the thing. It's not like I want to see the Warriors lose every game next year. It's completely different than that.
Exactly. Nice analogy there. Bring it in two worlds. But like I said, it's different. I'm not going with that. I am going to go with Secret Life of Pets number 1. Same argument you made. 50% drop off. You're still looking at 50 million, and it's animated, so realistically, it probably won't drop off 50. Number 2, I am going Ghostbusters. This is where I differ from you. Number 3, I'm going Finding Dory. I think it just has more appeal. I don't think Tarzan's going to have the legs. Number 4, that means I'm going to have Tarzan. And number 5, I'm going to round it out with Mike and Dave. So we come down to my Forgetful Fish versus your 8-pack. Which will win?
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, let us know what your guys' top 5 are for next week. You can hit us up on Twitter at IHB Podcast. Hit us up individually. We'll give those out at the end of the show. Or you can even send us an email to, what's the email address, James?
IHBpodcast@gmail.com.
Thanks for looking at the wall to make sure you can.
I didn't even look over there. I had to not look at you, so I didn't start laughing.
All right, exactly. Yes, IHBpodcast@gmail.com. On to the news and notes for the day. All right, first up, we have a trailer, which I'm up in the air about throwing it out as the trailer of the week, but we'll see.
Well, we have another one that's much better.
We do, but I've used that one last week. Goat trailer. Essentially, it is a film starring some kid and Nick Jonas about the hazing. Is it even Nick? I don't even know what Jonas
it is. Nick.
Is it Nick? Nice.
The only reason I know that is because I'm looking at it.
The hazing process in some major college universities around the world. Name of actor?
Ben Schnetzer.
Ben Schnetzer is the younger brother of Jonas, who is in this fraternity. He decides to rush the fraternity and then goes through all of the ups and downs that come along with it. He's having sex, he's drinking, but then during Hell Week, he is sent into a basement and has to do all these embarrassing things. And
pretty disgusting things.
Yeah.
It crosses the line.
It does, and like that, you suppose, is the point of the movie, to show you the dirty underbelly of the frat star lifestyle, what you have to go through in order to get in, and the brotherhood they try to invoke. James and I both know people who are in fraternities. I was in a business fraternity, for the record. This didn't happen to me. Nothing was inserted into me. I have to make that clear.
That's disgusting.
James, what do you think of the trailer for Goat?
I'm not going to lie. I didn't really like the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's just because I don't really like fraternities. They don't really make sense to me. But you got plenty of information of what a fraternity is. I don't think they gave away too much of what the whole film is, which is good. Because the younger brother, played by Ben Schnetzer, definitely has some more issues than just rushing for this fraternity. Mm-hmm. And I thought they did a nice job of displaying those issues. Yeah. Without giving away too much.
Yeah. I don't have anything personally against fraternities. Like I said, I was in a business fraternity. And supposedly this is based off of a book written by a man who was in a fraternity, and he just kind of described about what the process was and what his experience and all that was. And
I hope it's not that accurate.
Yeah, I'm sure that there are elements played up for the movie itself, but things like this happen. Like we know it does. Like if you've been on any campus, you hear a story about somebody who's like, oh yeah, no, Johnny had to stand in a corner and drink 7 bottles of vodka until he threw up and pissed himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, this thing happens. Nothing in the trailer to me seemed outlandish enough that I should like really care, I guess, as weird as it sounds. it looks like a shock movie for the sake of shocking you. Like, oh, this is what happens at fraternities. But like I said, if you've ever gone to school or ever known anybody in a fraternity, things like this happen. Is it okay? No, certainly not. But it's of the people's choice. And yes, it's probably going to go into a little bit of the psychology behind it and how if you have a certain type of personality and it can really have damaging effects to you. And you can see that by at one point, the name we've mentioned several times that I keep forgetting is slapping himself in the face, and that's weird. From the film perspective alone, like I said, nothing really looked interesting to me. It looked like a lesser version of like Spring Breakers or something like, kind of like Magic Mike, like a less talented version of Magic Mike, because obviously that's from Soderbergh and stuff. Like the idea of the life behind a male stripper, of the drugs and stuff like that, and the seediness.
It's good pull.
Yeah, so directed by Andrew Neil. I've never seen any of his previous work. He's mainly done indie and short film type stuff. As we said, it's got Nick Jonas, who feels like Dave Franco light.
Yes. One of his debut film roles, right?
Yeah, he's done a little bit of like TV work, but this I think is his first major film role.
And James Franco's in it.
Yeah, he plays like the alumni frat brother. It looks like, who was like
the frat brother that couldn't let go.
Yeah, like I graduated 20 years ago, but I can still drink like you guys and all that. And he certainly brings a messed up feeling to the film.
Yeah.
Something I might not see in theaters if it gets a good run. It got some award buzz. I think it's Sundance or something like that. So
that's always good.
Interesting. Not my particular cup of tea. Next one.
The next trailer is the boxing drama with Miles Teller. Bleed for This.
Yeah. This was the trailer of the week last week. And hopefully you guys got a chance to check it out because it damn near might be my favorite trailer of the year, not titled Suicide Squad.
Yes. That's a good point.
Miles Teller looks like he's in his element, that perfect combination of his like cocky, making jokes to hide his pain attitude, and while at the same time, like, I didn't hate his accent. He looks physically fit to play the part. There were some really good jokes in the first couple, like 30 seconds of the film. I thought it was funny.
It's got a pretty big pretty decent sized cast. Katie Seagal, Aaron Eckhart. I don't know how to say this dude's name, but he was in one of the Lara Croft films. The second one, he was a bad guy. Syrian Hines.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen more than like 10 minutes of the second Lara Croft movie.
No. Okay. There Will Be Blood?
Nope.
Really?
I cannot get into that movie.
Dude, it is difficult. It is a difficult watch. So there's some decent sized actors in here. I like Aaron Eckhart. I think what we saw of him in the trailer, being bald, was kind of cool.
Because he's a good looking kid. Oh, kid, he's
gentleman.
Yeah, gentleman. And he's like, to make him balding and a little bit tubby and stuff like that it's a good look, like something different from him. Because lately he's just done a lot of like straight to video kind of stuff, and it'd be nice to see him get back into something with real something to it.
Yeah. Then the director, Ben Younger, hasn't done too much, except for
some pretty well known films though.
Yeah, Boiler Room, and then Prime. Did you ever see Prime?
Yeah, I saw Prime.
Was it any good? I did not see it.
It's okay.
Boiler Room. Let's get back to Boiler Room.
Yeah.
Boiler Room is a great film.
Boiler Room is a subpar film that everybody thinks is a good film.
I think it's a good film.
Like,
I really enjoyed it.
Can you legitimately tell me the plot of Boiler Room?
Yeah, it's about stocks.
That's all you know.
And
that's all anybody knows.
The corruption of stocks.
That's all anybody knows about that movie.
That's all you need.
I'm talking like real details.
Vin Diesel's the man. No, there's
what's the plot of Catch Me If You Can?
Frank Abagnale Jr.
You've already told me more about Catch Me If You Can.
I've seen that also way more times than I've seen Boiler Room.
Okay, fair enough.
And it's on TV all the time.
Yeah, I don't think Boiler Room's that great of a film. I think a lot of people think it's a great film.
You don't think the acting's good?
I think it's okay.
A lot of young actors, though.
Yeah, very young. Like, it's Affleck before he's really seasoned. It's Vin Diesel in one of his only films where he's not punching people in the face all the time. So, I mean, yeah, it's his best acting work he's ever done. Giovanni Ribisi, before he really like became who he is, this was like him right off of being the Friends brother who eventually has Phoebe's kids or whatever. All right, so I love the soundtrack of Bleed for this.
Bad tangent.
It was really fun. I thought that was really fun. I don't know the girl's name, but she's very attractive at the beginning. I think maybe she'll be a reoccurring character throughout, maybe not. And there's the idea, like, 'cause it's a story that I'm not too familiar with, so I'm really looking forward to this film. Plus, it's a boxing movie. I'm a sucker for boxing movies.
Yeah, boxing movies are great. I think Cinderella Man is one of my favorite movies.
I just watched that last night.
Did you?
Yeah.
It's creepy.
Great. Yeah. It really was. You know, like Jimmy staring at me through my window.
No.
All right.
There's a camera in the corner.
Did you guys see either of these trailers? Hopefully you saw at least the IHB podcast trailer of the week, which was Bleed for this. But if not, go to YouTube or go to the Facebook page and we'll post these links and stuff like that, and you can go check them out. Let us know what you thought in the comment section below, or you can hit us up on Facebook. My name's Dominic Demore, and he is Jimmy Langos. All right, next up, we got some pretty big news in the world of animation. It feels like our world's being swallowed up into the digital realm.
At first it was superheroes, and now it's animation.
Yeah. Disney took to its Facebook Live account not too long ago to announce that Wreck-It Ralph 2 is in development. This time around, Ralph will head on to the internet, causing all kinds of shenanigans as life moves away from the arcade-style games and into the handheld format. Director Rich Moore will return for the sequel. Are you excited for the long-awaited follow-up, or does Wreck-It Ralph 2 make you want to turn off the console and go play Pokemon Go? You haven't seen Wreck-It Ralph either? What the fuck, James?
I don't watch animated movies.
Wreck-It Ralph is a beautiful movie. Like,
I'm sure it is, and I've heard great things about it.
I'm looking forward to this. The original made like $370 million worldwide. Not an outstanding number for how good that film was, but certainly in talks to get a sequel. John C. Reilly fits the role of Wreck-It Ralph perfectly. His voice comes through that character, and you just see John C. Reilly on the screen. It was great to see like crossovers of video games that I loved as a kid, like all those classic arcade games and stuff like that. And there was like Street Fighter characters in it for a second, so that was cool. The idea of them going onto the internet is also intriguing because now you're gonna get maybe some cross-promotional stuff. Like, imagine if Clash of Clans is like, yeah, we'll give you $20 million. Have Wreck-It Ralph show up and be next to a Hog Rider. Hog Rider!
Yeah, that would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, so that's cool. And there's tons of, like, opportunity for that. I may get killed for saying this because I like to identify myself as a comedy/stand-up comedy fan. But I have never enjoyed Sarah Silverman or Jane Lynch and their style, but they play or voice two characters in the original, and I assume they'll return because they were major players in the first. I loved them in Wreck-It Ralph. So, if nothing else, that should give you a reason to go and watch it, James, you heartless bastard. That it made you like Sarah Silverman and Jane Lynch.
Heartless bastard.
Exactly.
Those are strong words.
You have not seen Finding Nemo, and you have not seen Wreck-It Ralph. You have no soul. Let's move on before you embarrass yourself a little more. Or have you never seen Javier Bardem in a movie either?
No, I've seen him in
Okay,
movies.
good. Then go ahead and read the next one.
More potential casting news for the upcoming Universal Monster movie universe, as rumors have been flying that Javier Bardem of No Country for Old Men fame is being eyed for the role of Frankenstein in an upcoming film. What are your thoughts on the potential casting? And in other news, have you seen the images of Sofia Boutella as the mummy from The Mummy?
Yeah, I saw this. I posted it to our social media Facebook page, so go to there to check it out. That's the I've Had Better podcast. She looks cool, way more interesting than I thought. Like, she's actually in mummy garb. In the Brendan Fraser. We're just gonna go Fraser movies from when we were kids. You saw the mummy as a mummy for a little while, but eventually he just became a dude. In this one, it looks like she might be a mummy for most of the movie, and I liked her get up. I thought it was interesting, and I think Sofia Boutella is quickly rising up the ranks of like, oh, this girl is going to be part of major franchises going forward. So they were interesting. Do you see the photos?
Yes. She,
Oh, finally something James has seen.
Wow. I come straight from work here, and you just keep giving me shit. Yeah, the Mummy looks good. Looks impressive. It's not. I mean, the one Mummy from the original film still looked good, but this one looks better.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because she's standing next to people with hats and jeans and regular clothes.
It makes her stand out a little bit more. Yeah. So Javier Bardem as Frankenstein. I'm a little up in the air on it.
I think he's got the look for it.
Yeah, I think he does too. To be honest, and this is nothing against Javier Bardem because he's a fantastic actor. It's just maybe I'm a little over Frankenstein. We had that awful I, Frankenstein from a couple years ago.
There's a lot of bad
Frankenstein from
movies.
Van Helsing with Hugh Jackman is still solidly in my mind. And I just watched Penny Dreadful, like a couple episodes of that, and Frankenstein's a major plot point. And I don't have a real need to see that character back on screen. Like, I'm much more interested in the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde that Russell Crowe is going to be playing, and the Invisible Man that Johnny Depp is rumored to be, possibly Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Ding! That's our Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson mention of the week. As the Wolfman, and then Tom Cruise as the normal guy who's just kind of gonna run into all of them, I assume.
Oh, I hope so, because that sounds like an amazing film.
So I'm not quite there yet. What about you?
I like the idea of Bardem being Frankenstein, but I just don't, like you said, I mean, they've overdone the Frankenstein thing. Mm-hmm. I actually saw the one with Aaron Eckhart, and it was an interesting take on Frankenstein, but it wasn't a good film. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think my favorite Frankenstein movie is the one with Gene Wilder.
Oh, Young Frankenstein?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of people's. Yeah, I can see that.
And I don't know why, but I think Frankenstein does better with humor.
A little bit, yeah. What if, because everybody knows it's one of those common misconceptions that the monster is not Frankenstein. Frankenstein is the name of the doctor who creates the monster. What if Bardem was playing the professor? Would you be more inclined to like this idea, or would you be less involved? Because I have to admit, I think I would like him more as the professor. Because also, I think his dramatic chops will overpower the Frankenstein role. I don't really want my Frankenstein to be, oh, woe is me, and I don't want to see the sorrow and all that.
I feel like you're wasting his talent too, having him be the Frankenstein.
Yeah.
He's much too talented of an actor if you're just going to have him stand there and scare people.
Yeah. You make him the doctor, he could literally show up in like all of these movies in like semi-cameo roles or...
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah. What do you guys think of Javier Bardem as Frankenstein? Do you like the casting? Are you excited for the Universal Monster Universe overall? Let us know in the comment section below. And if not, hit us up on Twitter at IHB Podcast. Speaking of my witty joke that I wrote earlier for Pokemon. No, nobody laughed at that one? Cool, whatever.
Moving on.
There's been an underground bidding war happening for months for the rights to the live-action Pokemon film. Deadline is now reporting that Legendary Pictures has made massive steps to land said rights. While talks for the film have been going on for years, the internet-crashing Pokemon Go has breathed new life into the idea. Do you think a live-action Pokemon movie will work, James?
It has to, right? Because, I mean, the app game is doing so well.
Yeah, do you see that Nintendo's stock is rumored to be up 25%? A result? Like, that's insane. Like,
yeah.
Roughly, if I had all of my money in Nintendo stock right now, I would be a quarter of my money richer. Just from, like, one app.
Yeah, that's what 25% is.
Yes, I realize that is math. And I just wanted to explain it for maybe some of our dumber listeners. Mainly me. Because it sounded great in my head. Like, it sounded super smart when I was saying it. Like, oh, this is a good point. I'm going to sound really cool. Turns out, no. James has to shoot me down. So what do you think of the movie, James?
It's a possibility to be good because of the technology now. I think they can make it look more realistic. Again, that's another thing I don't have. I don't have the app. I don't play the game, but it's possible for it to do well.
I do have the app. I don't play it as much as some people. Like, I haven't gone out and walked and tried to catch anything yet. But I'm super interested by it. It's just, I don't feel like wasting my battery / my data that much.
It is a great
So
idea.
it's more, it's genius because it lets you be the Pokemon trainer.
Yeah. Do you think they like went to the like Sprint and Verizon and be like, all right, we've got this genius game and everyone's going to go over on their data. So why don't you just charge more for data and then we can both make money?
There are rumors that there are some app developers out there who will go to service providers and be like, hey, you give us 10% of your data overages and we'll make this app.
Because Verizon just came out and they're charging more for their data, but now you're going to be able to roll over what you don't use. But if you don't use any, then you're kind of screwed.
Yeah. So as far as the movie goes, it will make money no matter what. As long as they keep a modest budget. Like, you can't make a $200 million Pokemon movie and expect to make a ton. Like, I don't think this is a $1 billion movie.
Yeah.
But you do something like Warcraft did, and you pull in $400 million worldwide, but you keep it to a $80 to $90 million budget. It's gonna work. The other thing is, from a film perspective, I don't know if there's enough of a story there. I assume you're familiar with the Pokemon, right?
Yes.
Good. Does the movie focus around Ash Ketchum, the young boy that we see from all the TV series? Or does it focus on some other new guy that we've never met before? If you focus on Ash, is it an origin story? Because you talk to anybody, the first season of Pokemon, stuff happens, but it takes a while, and it's pretty much all Pikachu fighting people. And while everybody loves Pikachu, Charizard's my boy. I want to see Charizard, but Ash doesn't have Charizard until 90 episodes in or some crap like that. I think it's less than that, but hyperbole. So, do you do that? Or do you have it be Ash, but you have them at some major tournament where it's all about the tournament and you just kind of oh, hey, I'm fighting these 5 people advancing rounds and stuff
I like that.
that.
I like that idea better.
Yeah, but there's not a whole lot of story there. Obviously, you'd probably include Team Rocket and trying to steal Pokemon and stuff like that.
Well, I think it just gives more flexibility for the writers to kind of do whatever they want.
Yeah, but then you also lose out on the element of the whole catching Pokemon thing.
Yeah,
it's going to be tough to...
Maybe you could somehow combine both.
Yeah, what I'm mainly trying to get a point is it's going to be tough to satisfy everybody for this film, and depending on which way you go, you could end up not satisfying anyone.
Yeah.
So it'll be tough.
Just
it's
like
obviously
Dominic Damore's sex life. That was a layup. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it.
Oh, that hurt. That one hurt. All right. As I wallow in shame, James, how will we go on to the next story?
All right. I'm sorry. That was totally uncalled for. Variety is reporting some key casting for the highly anticipated Flash movie from Warner Brothers. Neighbors 2 and dope actor Kiersey Clemons is a top choice for the role of Iris West, who is Barry Allen's main love interest. Nothing is final yet, and Boris Kit from The Hollywood Reporter is saying the singer-songwriter Rita Ora is a possibility along with Sing Street standout Lucy Boynton. Do you have a preference on who you want to see cast?
This is an odd question. Obviously, we've talked about many times. Giant comic book nerd. I love all things comic books, and The Flash is probably in my top 5 superheroes. He's arguably on my Mount Rushmore, even though there's only 4 people on Mount Rushmore. I am aware of that fact.
Yeah, you don't want the internet people to...
Yeah, so out of everybody they named, Rita Ora is the only one I'm no, can't do it. And it's not because she's not a good actress, because she's had some pretty heavy dramatic roles. She was in Southpaw. She played a crackhead mother who knows one of the fighters or something like that. Jake Gyllenhaal shows up at her apartment. And she's done some guest spots on some TV shows and stuff like that. And she was in 50 Shades of Grey, and she's going to be in the sequels. So it's not because she's not a good actor, and I don't have faith that she could do it. It's just a character of this magnitude, because Iris West is the Lois Lane of The Flash. He's the Mary Jane Watson of Spider-Man. Main love interest. She's going to get captured at some point, and she's going to be the damsel in distress, and Flash is going to have to save her. And she's going to be a reoccurring character for however many Flash movies you have in this iteration. So I'm between Boynton and Clemons. I lean towards Clemons because she is an African-American actress. Currently in the comics, Iris West is depicted as a African-American woman, or at least biracial woman. On the TV show on TV, she is an African-American woman, so it's just something that film needs more of. It's always great to have some more minority roles in your films, and it's something that you can jump to before Marvel does. When Marvel doesn't have some interracial relationship, and it doesn't look like they're going to have one anytime soon, seeing as like Black Panther is supposedly going to have a African love interest, so there's not going to be a crossover there. Black Widow's tied up with the Hulk so far, and Ant-Man and the Wasp are together, so, and Captain America is just banging apple pie blondes for no reason, so.
Yeah, come on, that's what everyone wants out of their Captain America.
So it's going to be interesting, and I like the idea of having an interracial couple in one of these films, and I think if they're smart, that's the way they'll go.
I agree. I think it's a good decision to have someone of color. It doesn't have to be African American. It can be whatever you want.
Yeah, I know. They could have cast her Asian or anything, but it's just nice that not only does it match up with the comics, it also just gives more opportunities. And the Clemens girl, I didn't like her in Neighbors 2. Granted, the script did her no favors, and she's a super small part.
Yeah.
But Dope, which you and I have both, we really need to see that movie as many times as it's coming back to bite us in the ass.
I know. We'll get there.
Yeah. That movie got some critical acclaim, and she's re-teaming with the director Rick Famuyiwa. Rick. We're on first name basis from Dope.
It'd be nice for DC to be ahead of the curve here.
Yeah,
and just beat out Marvel on something.
All right. What do you guys think? Are you a fan of either one of these actresses? I'm going to leave Rita Ora out of it because I don't think she's a realistic choice. Who would you guys prefer to be cast in that role? Candace Patton plays the actress on the TV show. Do you think she deserves a shot? Let us know in the comment section below or send us an email, which is ihbpodcast@gmail.com. All right, James, last official story of the day is my story, which I will read at this time.
Thank you for notifying everyone.
Big news, see what I did there?
Big
news. Deadline is reporting that Paramount Pictures has picked up the rights to the children's book series Clifford the Big Red Dog. The movie is rumored to have a live-action/computer graphics hybrid, and Justin Malin is set to write the script. Are you a fan of the movie happening, or do you think it should be taken out back and shot like Old Yeller?
Wow.
Yeah.
Dog reference, not cool. As a kid, I loved Clifford, the books, and even the TV show. Just wonder what the live action thing's going to be like. Because Clifford's a lot larger than everyone.
Yeah, that's the concept of the big red dog.
Yeah, but I just don't understand how it's going to work with real people.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I will give you all the money in my wallet right now if you can tell me the name of Clifford's owner, little girl.
Without cheating, I don't know.
Emily Elizabeth.
Yeah, wouldn't have
gotta love that alliteration. Yeah, I understand your concern. I'm not as worried about it as you are. Just some background. Clifford was first published in 1963 and has been running strong ever since. Even came out with a couple of books in 2015, including Clifford Goes to Hanukkah, or Clifford Has Hanukkah. So, some real outreach there. That's awesome. As I said earlier, he does have an owner, a young Emily Elizabeth.
It's Clifford Celebrates Hanukkah.
Goes to Hanukkah, celebrates. It's the same thing.
It's like he's got the Jewish friend that he hangs out with to get more presents.
I don't think the size thing will be an issue. To me, this sounds like they could do something like they're doing with Pete's Dragon. Have you seen that trailer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
To where he's a bit mystical. Maybe he's not even real kind of thing. Like, it all depends on how aimed towards children they're going. Like, if they're going straight up like Smurfs, which I think will suck. Yeah. Or if they go more towards like making a good film. So that's going to be interesting. Another contributing factor, how young do they cast for the Emily Elizabeth role? Do they go like young teenager, like maybe 12 or 13, or do they stick with what happens in the children's books where I assume she's probably no older than like 8?
Yeah. It's tough to find good 8-year-old female actresses.
There are none, James. I'm going to tell you right now.
That's why I said it's tough.
Yeah. It's not even tough. It's impossible. Doesn't happen.
Okay. Definitely hit a nerve with you.
So I hope they go like 12 or 13, just for more interesting. Like, because you got to figure that little kids can have a lot of dialogue in this film. You think they'll give Clifford a voice, or you think he's just going to be a dog?
I don't know. It's a tough question. They obviously could go either direction, which would I prefer, it being a regular dog, I think.
I think so, too. I think I want the regular dog.
I don't need, like, Kevin Spacey voicing this for that stupid movie he's doing.
You see he's doing where he gets turned into a cat? It's essentially the Shaggy dog, but he's a cat.
Yeah.
That looks... And it's one of those things like, how much did they pay him? Like, you think they just backed up the truck and were like, our budget's $100 million. Here's 70 of it. Like, $70 million for you to be the voice of a cat.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he just needs some comedic relief after being so serious for House of Cards, because that's all he's done.
Yeah.
In the last 4 years, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, he did that video game voiceover for Modern Warfare or whatever.
Oh, okay. That was a day's worth of work.
Yeah, true. So it's interesting. Back to Clifford. It's one of those things where it's got enough name recognition, and depending on the way they take it, modest budget. You keep this movie for less than like $75 million, it makes money. You start going in over 75, you're flirting with BFG territory.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Do you want to see a Clifford the Big Red Dog movie? Is there a childhood book series that you loved that you think would make a great film? Let us know in the comment section below, or hit us up on Twitter, which we will give you shortly. All right, next up we have that beloved, most treasured, wonderful section that we always talk about, the shit we didn't have time for. This is where we just kind of go through some of the more easily explained stories of the day, where there's not too much opinion to be had. It's just kind of giving you guys some of the latest news from around the industry. First up, we have Alicia Vikander's Tomb Raider film, which James and I have both talked about our thoughts on, gets a release date of March 16th, 2018. The Nice Guys, Angoy Rice, another one of those young childhood actors who can't do anything right. She's been cast in Spider-Man Homecoming. Scott Eastwood has been cast in Pacific Rim 2. And Vinnie Jones has been cast in Kingsman 2, The Golden Circle. James, of these four stories, which ones do you want to talk about?
Vinnie Jones, cast in Kingsman 2, The Golden Circle.
Yeah. He's teaming back up with Matthew Vaughn, who directed Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Perfect.
Yeah.
When I think British film movies, I want Vinnie Jones in them.
Yeah.
Pretty simple explanation.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could argue with you, but I can't. I love Vinnie Jones. I think he's been great in a couple of his movies. He's especially good when you let him have comedic moments.
Yes.
Because like he's scary as hell when he's the bad guy straight up, but when you let him have fun, it's great.
Yeah, I just always picture him in Gone in 60 Seconds.
Sphinx.
Yeah, Sphinx, where he just plays a badass that doesn't talk.
Yeah.
And everyone's afraid of him. Mm-hmm. But I think it's a good move for his career, too, to be back in a larger budget film.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's done way too many smaller ones.
Yeah. Hey, you got to get paid, right?
Yeah.
I am going to go with Scott Eastwood being cast in Pacific Rim 2. A young, up-and-coming actor. You wonder what kind of a role he's going to take on. There's been no reports of previous cast returning. And we did talk about John Boyega being cast as well. So I'm just waiting for more information on this. Like, is Charlie Hunnam going to be in this movie? Is he taking Charlie Hunnam's place? He is. If that is the case, wow. Not sure how you're going to pull that one off.
Yeah.
Charlie Hunnam's a great-looking guy, but Scott Eastwood is Scott Eastwood. Let's face facts. He looks like a younger version of his father. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting casting. He's going to be in that Suicide Squad movie later this year. Maybe he'll show us something in that.
Yeah. Really makes me wonder what they're doing with this Pacific Rim 2.
Yeah.
Are they just getting rid of all the original cast members, like you said? And are they just going to go a younger route? Because I don't think they'll be able to pull what they pulled with the first one if they just take all these younger actors.
I'm with you. All right, so those are the quick hitters for today. If you guys want some more information, just throw in a quick Google search. You'll be able to hear all the latest stuff on all of these stories. All right, new segment for you guys today. Well, an adaptation of an old one, seeing as we kind of were repeating ourselves in the past. Instead of Pickets and Kickets, we're going straight kicking it old school with IHB. All we're going to do is tell you what story we talked about this week and say why it's stupid and why I don't think we should talk about this anymore. So, what is your kick it for the week, James?
Scott Eastwood in Pacific Rim 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
They should have cast a different good-looking white boy.
Not a fan of Scott Eastwood?
No, not at all. I don't think he's that great of an actor at all.
All right, well, we'll see. When he proves you wrong in... Really, Suicide Squad's the only thing I can come up with. I have no other idea what movie he's going to be in. But...
I hope he does, because I really don't like it when people suck.
Don't we all? All right, my kick it for the week is the GOAT trailer. It just never caught on with me. I don't particularly find the story fascinating. I think either they're going to go one or two ways. They're going to go too over the top, and I'm going to be like, oh, I don't want to watch this, or it's going to be just too blah. And that's all I got. All right, everybody, I want to thank you all for tuning into the episode today. If you enjoyed the show, please like this episode and subscribe to the I've Had Better Podcast Network. Also, you can follow us on Twitter at IHB Podcast and go like the I've Had Better Podcast page on Facebook. James, tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter, _Kaiser_Soze, or on Facebook as Jimmy Langos. And don't forget to check out the website, www.ihbpodcast.com. And please subscribe and like and possibly write a comment for our iTunes account. And you can find that by searching IHB, I've Had Better Podcast, and a bunch of other things that Dom tells you in other episodes that I can't remember at the moment.
Yeah, pretty much any iteration of our name will make it pop up. So go check that out. You have no idea how much a 5-star comment really helps us out in the future. And as always, I am Dominic Demore. You can follow me on Twitter at Dom Demore. That's DOMDEMORE. Or on Facebook as Dominic Demore. James, how's your show today?
Yeah, I've had better.
Good night, everybody.